for everyone who's joined here today, I just want to say congratulations to you because I believe that if God wants to change a person's life, he gives you access to certain informations. And if you open your heart and apply your hearts to the things that we would share today, I know God will meet you at your point of need. One of the first things I want to say in working with entrepreneurs across the different countries in the world, the first things I've recognized is a business never grows beyond the founder. And I find that in Africa, we do business from a subsistent angle, meaning I just want to eat, I just want to feed, I just want to be okay, I just want to be able to pay my rent. You know, the basic needs we have as humans, which is great. But you see, when challenges hit, if that's your motivation, it's not enough to push you to the next level. And that's why as an entrepreneur, especially a startup, in this climb where things are difficult, you must stretch your mind to see beyond where you are. And that's where personal development is so important. What exists in the realms of that business as a person here in Africa? How many people are doing that kind of business in the different countries? What have they accomplished? What innovations are they applying? What new techniques are they applying? What are they bringing into their businesses? What additions or subtractions are they making? Are you at that level with them, or you are guided by just your surrounding and what it is you want to earn? The way God created us, he created us to be a part of a solution to something, not a taker. That's the way God created us. So if you are existing as a business to just collect money, let me sell, let customers give me money, after a while, it will begin to dry up because you are almost, in a way, creating a void in nature. So businesses, the first thing you must do is develop yourself. Know much more than where your environment are or is. And then as you begin to do that, you begin to see bigger. As you see bigger, you begin to get bigger. Because it's what you see that you seize. And I find that in working with a lot of entrepreneurs, this singular thing has literally transformed them. That if they thought this all they could get, but once they see bigger, they begin to attract those opportunities. Okay? And those opportunities could be financial opportunities, could be collaborative opportunities, it could be new products and services added to your business just by that singular thing. And the second thing is systems and processes in Africa. We always just want to do is just me, myself, and I. And every time you're not prepared to receive more in terms of processes and systems, you don't get more. And that's why that statistic keeps getting bigger. In the next after 5 years, businesses die in Africa. It's true. Why? We don't create room, system, and process to actually expand. So those things that are big hardly come to us. And when they come to us, we find that the system and process we have in place cannot sustain it. So some of you may get big funding, maybe 5 million naira, and then your business and your process and structures does not help you actually pull that money aside. After a while, you start asking yourself, please, what did I do with that 5 million? Why? The systems and processes were not properly taken care of. As basic as how do you onboard customers? After onboarding customers, how do you move them to the next thing they need in their customer life cycle? How do you follow up with feedback? As basic as it sounds, that is how big companies grow. They pay attention to those tiny little details. They keep rinsing and repeating, and after a while, you find that once they perfect those systems and processes, they are able to scale to the next level. And so those two things are the things that I find that are very, very important. The third thing I will just add very quickly is collaborations. I find that in Africa, a lot of times, people always say it's my business, it's my dream, it's my vision, it's my passion. And we keep doing it's my. Meanwhile, there's somebody who is looking for the right word to use, who is another part of that your business somewhere, that by coming into your business, they bring it to another level. So we need to have an open mind and begin to look, who and what can I partner and collaborate with rather than thinking competition all the time to help me move this business to the next level. And that will begin to come into place when you start thinking, okay, if I'm going to partner with this person, what documents do I need to pay attention to? And the list is endless. But open your mind to collaborations within and outside the continent and outside this country. So that once you start thinking that way, you start to see how you can scale what it is you have that is erstwhile small right now, but with somebody else's expertise, somebody else's connection, somebody else's experience, can pull that small business into something that is bigger than it.
I'm just carried away from what she was saying because I've also I've narrowed down the question to these 2-3 points you just mentioned. That's it. Before I'll come back to what she said, let me just tell someone here, either in person or online, that your business would break that barrier. I thought people would say a powerful amen. Okay, can we have one agreement that at Unscripted, if you can't say amen, let's say, so shall it be. So we are still saying the same thing. I have it feel strong in my heart, in my mind, that someone's business, by the reason of what we are sharing tonight, will break all barriers. Okay, now let's go to the meat of what you've just shared. Powerful stuff there. Please, you can start writing those questions. If you have any question you want to write, just request for a piece of paper from our official. You write it, give it to them, we'll get it here. Then we will, I'll give it to the speaker to deal with. If you're online, you can send it to the platform where you are watching from. We'll take care of those questions. Let's talk about this big one for me, the motive for starting a business. Why do you want to start a business? Why do you want to start a business? You talked about money being the major reason why a lot of people in our society want to go into business. I want to make a case for them. And the case is because some of them will start this business as their side hustle, side gig, and they just want more income. And then they keep on doing that until the thing keeps on getting bigger and they cannot refocus from that to something that is bigger than money. Let me say this categorically, that business that is well established, well managed, and growing is a money-making machine. So money should not be the major reason, because business is founded, it's like the DNA of business is to generate funds. So money is already part of it. Now let's talk about motive.
Thank you, sir.
What's the best motive that a business owner can capitalize on to starting a business and become a world-class organization?
I'll answer the question by sharing my story. I started my first business, I think, when I was 18, in my first year in university. In fact, pre-degree. I had gone to school, my parents had given me school fees, and I told myself as a young babe, I will not go and, start chasing here and there to be able to look good. So I took my school fees. Please don't try this at home if you're watching. I took my school fees in Ilorin, then traveled to Lagos, bought some items, earrings, underwears, because my head was, I want to take that thing back to school, sell it, double the money, have some money to be able to do baby girl, if you know what I mean. And my first attempt at business failed woefully because I thought I had a market and I was driven by how much I wanted to make. I got there and all I was getting as compliments or feedback was, they are nice, oh, they are nice, oh. And so I had a stock of products, my school fees was tied, no money to come out. Long and short, what happened after, I don't even want to tell you, with my dad and all. But you see, after that business, I've done over 7 other different businesses, and the motive was how much I could make. All of them the same thing. I would make some level of income. After a while, I would hit a roadblock. And then the final business I did, or I started, was when I started to realize that this can't be about how much I wanted to get. Because if you make money just by hustling, after a while, the fuel that is keeping you hustling, it will no longer be there. No matter how hard you want to work, one day you will get tired. And if you're studying the businesses that are existing long before you came, Coca-Cola, Indomie, the list is endless. It was not based on, let us hustle and make money. It was, what is the need in the society? What is that need that cannot be ignored? And let me keep supplying that need. Based on that need, aka value, the money will consistently chase you for the rest of your life. So rather than thinking of how do I make money, think of how can I solve a standing problem, a pressing problem in the lives of individuals. And so I moved my thinking from how much I wanted to get. And quite frankly, in all those other small businesses I have done in the last couple of years, I have made a certain amount of money, but was it enough to sustain me? No. Are they still necessarily standing? Not all of them. But the minute I started to think value, and what is value? How do I transform somebody else's life? How do I make sure that their own problems are solved by my very existence? That's when I started to see real growth in business. That's when I started to make impact. That's when I started to influence people's lives. That's when my business started to grow. That's when I started to enter into other countries, and the list is endless. So your focus cannot be about money, because after a while you will burn out. In fact, God says the blessings of the Lord maketh rich and he addeth no sorrow. So if you are waking up every day and chasing, how do I make money? That's not how God wants it to be. Because he doesn't want you stressed because you are looking for money. He wants you positioned so that money can chase you as you begin to add value repeatedly. And so your focus, your motive must be, how do I transform somebody's life with my product and service? And for you to find that out, you have to bring the product, put it on the table. Bring the life of the individual you are trying to help or sell to, put it on the table. Highlight the problems in the individual's lives. Highlight the solution in the product or service that you sell. Pair it together, then create a value proposition so compelling that the customer will see that this is my problem that I have, this service or product is the only solution.
The need in your environment is key. You can imagine someone who wants to sell what people don't need. That person will soon run out of business. I listened to a mentor a few years ago, and he was talking about the amount of money that is circulating in this city alone. In our city, the amount of money that is, our city is a city of about 22 million people right now as a state. And then you can imagine how many people will feed on a daily basis, how many people will want their clothes to be dry cleaned, to be ironed, to be washed, how many people will want to get basic daily amenities for their homes. You can start thinking now. And this, there was a time that cooking soup and supplying homes become a very big business in Lagos. Am I saying the right thing? Because the way people are looking at me now, it's like as if I'm speaking gibberish. So what we're saying is that change your focus. I want to make money is not enough reason to starting a business. If that purpose is not good enough to start a business, it cannot keep you in business. Let's move on. We're still expecting the questions. If these questions are coming, we'll take it. Let's also allow our in-person audience to ask their question in person. If you want to ask a question, we'll allow you. Just raise up your hand. The microphone will be brought to you. Then help us to make it very, very brief. 1 minute, 30 seconds will be max for individuals in this hall. For our online participants, just write the question online where you are watching from. We'll pick it from there. We'll do justice to it. Now, I have these that I've penciled down that I want to discuss with you. That is what you talk about: systems, building, processes, and structure. How can a startup whose finance capacity is not that huge can leverage and start doing all these things? I mean, how do they start building the systems?
Thank you so much. I'm also a startup, so I'm going to share the exact things I do and some tools so that everybody who is listening can adopt. The first thing you must pay attention to is building a community around what it is that you do. And when I say building a community, human beings thrive in communities. That means they want to be a part of people who feel like they connect. We're going through the same thing. We are expecting the same thing. That's how human beings think. And that's why if you go register in a gym, a lot of times before you know it, you're already in a clique of people. We like communities. So the first thing you must start thinking about is those who are your constant buyers, or every time somebody buys from you, you should have a simple form that captures who they are and its basic details. Maybe their phone number, so that you can say thank you or follow up for feedback. And if you like, their anniversaries or their birthdays, so you can just keep that. And so in order to be able to manage this, it's good to hire those they call virtual assistants. Because when you start a business, your capital may be lean. You may not have enough to hire the necessary talent to manage certain things. So you could leverage those they call virtual assistant. That means they can work from anywhere they are in the world. Their job is to have access to maybe your website or your website back end to collect this information from all your customers or even impending customers. So when a prospect visits your website or visits your business page, how do they capture their information? A simple form, either a Google form or an autoresponder form from your website, or even a chat bot embedded in your website. So if you're not a technical person, you can get somebody who's a technical person to embed this into your website, so that anybody coming on that website will fill in their details and you would have their own information. So whoever your virtual assistant is can begin to, once in a week or once in 2 weeks, reach out to them to say, thank you for being a part of what we do. We noticed you came in through our website. How can we service you? Right? And that already, in a way, is a customer acquisition process you have put in place without exerting energy. Because all the person did was put in their details and you are following up via a virtual assistant or social media manager, as the case may be, with that customer until they eventually become paying customers. Then for your money, if you want to do the invoicing, there are several apps like Wave app. Wave is very simple. Generate invoices sent to the customer so that you can track your inventory. That way, if you have a staff that works for you and every sale or purchase that is made is done via the Wave app, there is hardly any case of somebody stealing from you because it's all invoiced and you can see it and monitor what is going on in the business, whether you're physically there or not. But you see, for all the systems and structures that I always tell startups to put in place, what I find that is very important is the appreciation, personal appreciation to your customers. Every time a customer does business with you, it's imperative to have like a small message. For some businesses, they make it personalized. So if you're buying a physical product, say like a cake, people always personalize a small letter. Thank you, Miss This, for doing business with us, and they put their names. But if it's not a physical business, it's a service-based business, just a simple short SMS to say thank you for doing business with you. As basic as that. And then you must have a staff or a virtual assistant, as the case may be, that is following up to make sure that your customers have gotten what they ordered and they're satisfied with what they ordered. In this part of the world, we don't do it a lot. And that's why somebody can do business with you once and they never come back. Every time you have a customer that never comes back, that's a red flag in your business that you're going to very soon close. Because if one customer doesn't come back, it's an indicator that something is wrong in your customer acquisition and customer relationship management process. And until you figure out what that is, if one customer doesn't come back, there's a tendency that 5 other customers will not come back. And before you know it, you are wondering, last month I did 2 million naira. This month I'm not seeing any money. What happened? Go check your customer acquisition process. You will find that something has been done in the entire, management system that made the customers not come. So these things as basic. And then, of course, you must take very seriously your accounting system. It's so important. There are apps that help manage this. I can't remember this exact app I use now. But what it does, it takes all your I'll be able to bring it out. It takes all your expenses, all your payments, all the receivables, you just impute them, and it shows you what your balance sheet is every month. So you are managing your business, you are seeing your numbers every month. If you can't do that physically, hire an accountant that will do it either remotely or in person, so that you are seeing your profitability margin every month, not that every time money is coming in and going out, you don't know what is happening. If you don't take note of those things as a small business, chances are when you grow, you will not have a grip of it. So you must manage it and master it now that you are small, so that anybody else coming in will be able to get onboarded into what it is that's functional in your business and just take it from there and run with it. I forgot to mention customer onboarding process, especially for service businesses. Every time you onboard a customer, there must be an onboarding process that tells the customer what you would expect or what they will expect. So So I paid you for a 1-month consulting service. And at the end of the 1 month, you are saying, but this is not what I paid for. What was the agreement? You must be able to say, welcome to XYZ consulting firm. This is what you get, this is what you get, this is what you get. And at the end of this is what you're expected to have gotten. It must be crystal clear. Both onboardee and the onboarder must sign and say this is what we paid for. And if it's a physical service, you must reiterate what the person is ordering. If I get you correctly, sir, you ordered 3 tiers of XYZ inches cake. These are the flavors. You reiterate. And as the person says yes, you say received. Do you see how this process works? So what you're doing is you are mitigating any risk of customer dissatisfaction from the onboarding process. So nobody will say, I went to that company, this is what happened. Once the onboarding process is flawed, there is a risk of losing customers along your entire value chain. So these things, as basic as they are, they're the things that every startup needs to put in place in their business. One final thing, learn to segment your products and services. Segment it so that the person coming in can see clearly, this is what I am taking, not this one. So that it doesn't look all muddled up. And they're like, look at this one. Is it this one? Should I take this one? Segment your services and be able to package them to say, problem A, this is what you are getting. So you must have that sorted. If you are leveraging the online space, I call it creating sales pages for all your product and services. That means customer A says, I have headache, using that as an example. You send them a sales page that tells them their symptoms, their solutions, and what they expect to pay to get the solution. What they expect to pay to get the product or service that you're very neat and very explainable. So me and you are not going back and forth. The reason why we spend so much time tossing left, right, and center with customers is because we don't have these things documented. So if you come to me and you want a service now, chances are I will not speak to you for too long. I will just ask you, what exactly are you trying to achieve? Once you are clear, I already have a sales page in place that tackles your problem. I send you the link. Go read it. Once you're done reading it, you have questions, we now set up a meeting, say a 15-minute meeting, to clear the errors, and then we can move on to onboarding. Do you see this? And that's for service-based businesses. For product businesses, it's the same thing. You must create your packages very crystal clear, pair them with problems. Any customer coming with those problems, you just give. You see how it's easy to scale just by applying these things. That way you can service 100 customers at the same time. All you know is you know their problem. You're sending them what their potential solution is. And then once they are done, you consolidate and then onboard those that needs to be onboarded. So yes, sir.
Right. Thank you. Please, just. We're still going to come back to that aspect of differentiating between your process, your system, your structure that gives you a very distinct organization. Because most African business people start up, focus more on their product and services, not knowing that the organization plays a major role in your product or service development. I'm speaking with Just Ibe, a business consultant at Unscripted tonight. So if you are just joining us online or in-house, the focus of our discussion tonight is why businesses are not growing in Nigeria, in Africa. We started from the fact that about 70% to 80% of our businesses in Nigeria, Africa, would die at the turn of their 5th anniversary. And we're looking at what could be the cost. First, there's a report, a global report, that Nigeria, Africa, has the largest pool of business startups in the world. And our GDP is the least on the chart of continents in the world. That's very opposite. That's very contrasting. That's not good enough. So, and that's why we are treating this topic tonight. So if you are online, you have the opportunity to ask your question. I have a question here that I want us to look at. It has to do justice to it. The question says, how do you address the issue of inability to access loan from banks and financial institutions due to the fact that most small-scale businesses don't file proper returns to relevant authorities? Financial bailout from banks becomes impossible can you advise accordingly?
Answered his question by asking the question. A lot of times when you approach financial institutions for funding, your books must be intact. You can't play around it. You need to understand that these guys too are business owners just like you. So I need us to, for lack of a better word, start looking at them as business owners like you. They are in that business to make money just like you are looking for money to grow your business. And so they will be protecting their interest as you want to protect your interest. So if you don't have the right things, you have almost made them incapacitated to be able to help you. And it's bad enough that the interest rates are not even friendly in this part of the world where we find ourselves, especially when you're dealing with financial institutions. But of course, there are several other organizations that are not necessarily governmental organizations that help with loans across the different states in the federation. You must pay attention. That's why I said earlier, you must think collaboration. Plant yourselves in communities where things happen. In Lagos here, I hear LSCTF is giving grants and loans to business owners, and it's not audio, it's real. So you need to find out how people who are doing it are doing it. First, visit their website and see the criterions and see how you can get onboarded. They give as much as 5 million. And it's not audio again, like I said, it's real. But you must have your documentation. So if you're a business owner that has not filed tax returns, you have not filed all those things, and you want to go and do that thing, it's not going to work. Because all of those things, they will make sure that they come for it to check it. But that aside, one of the things I always also say to business owners is, before you think funding is your problem, have you thought about the fact that you can increase your customer base? So picture it this way. You sell clothes, and you are trying to maybe buy more machines to service more businesses to sell more clothes. Do you have a customer base that can help you actually sell 1,000 new clothes? This is how financial institutions work. I used to work in a bank, so I understand the way they think. They will look at you and say, dear startup, you want to buy machines to sew 1,000 clothes and be able to return the money you are borrowing. In your business, have you ever served 1,000 customers in the last 6 months? If the answer is no, that's already a flaw. That's how they think. So as a startup entrepreneur, what you must begin to think is, how do I increase my customer base with what I have? And it's called leverage, using the money of customers to do business. They do it everywhere else in the world. They'll tell you, place your order, in 14 days you'll get the money. Have you never seen those things before? Why are you not doing it in your own business? So you gather a pool of money, use it to produce and service those people. And before you know it, you're pulling out profit from there, that you're throwing back into your business. The reason why we think capital is the biggest and the worst problem is because we have pegged our growth, we have pegged our expansion on capital. If there's no money, we are dead. We must move out of that. That's not to say you don't need money. You do need money, but take advantage of leverage. And while you're taking advantage of leverage, begin to think potential partnerships. Who has these machines that I can say to them, give me machines, and I will probably, after a couple of months or weeks, I'll start to pay you back if I do this. You guys can enter into some level of partnership. Or I want to train 15 new tailors, and in training those 15 new tailors, I will send those tailors to come and buy a machine from you, but you give me your machine on credit. Do you see how to think? And that's why I said that your mind must move from subsistence to sustainability. Because until you start thinking that way, you will not see the opportunity that exists in the market that you can leverage rather than chasing after money. After a while, you will see that business that you have struggled to grow, the same banks you are chasing after will chase after you with money. Believe me. Yes. But you must put in the work. Don't peg your growth to, if I don't have money, I cannot grow. It's not true. There are several startups that have grown and have continued to grow without chasing after money from financial institutions until they got to a level where the financial institutions started to chase them. So dear startups, start thinking, what do I have at my disposal that I can leverage to make what I want to make while I'm waiting for the big money?
Basic and simple. Let me call it bookkeeping. Bookkeeping. Let's start from there. Do you keep the financials on your business? The income and expenditure. This one, that there's no difference between your money and the business money. There's no difference between your profits and your capital. The truth is that if you don't manage your finance very well, when you're at startup level, you cannot scale. Now, let me bring a very vital example. When we started this church, the Harvest World Church, THC, in 2017, we started writing every kobo, every income that comes in does not go to the hand of an individual, goes straight to the bank. And at the end of the first year, we're able to generate an audited account, financial account. 2018, we did audited financial account. 2019, we did the same thing. Now, this is what I'm trying to, you can't ask auditors to come and audit what you are doing if you don't have your books. No vouchers, no checks, you don't write, and that's the problem. That's where I think startups should start from. Startups should start from there. You should start documenting your income and expenditure. That kobo, you think it's kobo. Go and look at it at the end of the year. And then I tell you, if you have your books and then the banks, you approach them, they will be able to tell you what you are doing and what they can afford to give you. No bank will give you money that is beyond what you can generate. So I agree with you that you can build your customer base, but you must learn the basic bookkeeping system. There's no two way to it. If you can't do it, we have a lot of people now who does that on contract basis. You don't even need to employ one. You just keep your vouchers and your checks and your book, basic income and expenditure, and you turn it over to them, and they give you your management account. Your management account, you can audit it. If you have that management account, you approach a bank, they will listen to you. They may not give you all that you need, but they will give you what they think your capacity, the capacity of your business. Now, let me tell you this very importantly, that there are funds that are accessible right now in our economy, even in the world over, but if you don't have good bookkeeping system, nobody will look your side. Nobody will listen to you. So I think that's where startups should start looking at and keeping very good. Now, I want to ask this, and I want to put to shed more light on it. A lot of business owners or startups, they focus more on the product or the service they render, and they neglect the organization. That's what we've talked about. The process, the systems, and the core values. Yeah. So I want to shed light on what role do core values play in the growth of an organization or a business.
Thank you, sir. So every business is grown by people, by its people. And I find that a lot of startups have it the most difficult keeping staffs. So you find that every year, the amount of staffs you have churned out is a lot. The reason why they are not staying is because your organization does not have a structure that they can see themselves in. And that's where he mentioned core values. So because we're just focused on the product, the services, the people who are meant to work this core value, organization begins to grow, they come in, they don't see anything that they can hold on to and be a part of. They just do what they want to do and walk away. And so your business becomes garbage in, garbage out. So the first thing as an organization, you, the founder, is sit down. What core values do I stand by? And the people who are going to work with you, for you, must see you work. We were very clear from inception. Our core values: spirituality, integrity, accountability, and others. But you see, the reason why I put the spirituality is because I wanted people to understand that this vision is driven by God first. Now, this doesn't have to be you. I'm sharing my personal experience. But I had to walk it by every time we have a meeting as a people, now my team, we start with prayer, we finish with prayer. Now they see that this spirituality thing the boss is saying is not a joke. So even when I'm not in meetings, they start that way and they finish that way. What it's doing for my people is giving them a consciousness that this is a God-centered organization. And so it helps them behave the way that a God-centered person should behave with our customers, with our stakeholders across the different strata of our products and services. But they have seen me walk it again and again and again. The other part, integrity. When it's time for our accounting every time, they see it very clear. Nothing comes in. I don't take anything until another person signs that handles the account. So it's not as if she's the CEO. She's no. I have walked it. And so as you're coming, the first meeting we have is this is what our core values are. I don't just tell you in onboarding, you see us walk it. So what you are building as an organization, as a company, as a startup, starts first with you understanding by what core values do I want to build this company? And then living it out and watching the people that are with you or working for you, they watch you live it and then they follow suit. Because if a guy does not do it, they'll say, who am I to do it? If a guy does not live it, they'll say, who am I to live it? And very simple example that I see a lot of startups do, you talk to your customers anyhow, your employees are watching you, they are going to treat your customers worse. Because that's what they've seen you do. So if your core value is, say, we're customer-centric, it's not just for mouth, you walk it. Because people coming in to that organization will see what you have done and they will follow suit. You can't tell them, do this and you're doing that. You see how this works? And because you, the person who is the forerunner, in this case the founder, is walking and living it, everybody coming after you, once they're indoctrinated into how you run, the people coming after them too will be indoctrinated. And if they refuse to be indoctrinated, it's easy for you to pick the black sheep, looking for a good word to use. So if everybody is going A and a person comes and decides to go Z, you will know this one does not fit in here. And then you quickly pull them out. That's how companies grow. And that's how companies grow, by setting metrics, indices that they use to measure performances and growth of all their employees. As a startup, don't wait till you become a blue chip to set those parameters. In my organization, from the second month, I begin to know who cannot fit in here. Why? Because those systems and structures are in place. Our core values are very obvious. Once I see certain behaviors, we have corrected it first time, second time, third time, by the second month, I know you can't stay here. Because why? You don't align. And that's what we must begin to think of as startups.
All right, thank you. Those values are important to the growth of our organization. If your product or service will last longer in the market and do well, you need a well-crafted and oiled organizational structure that is based on purpose, on values, and propositions. Let's put our hands together. Let's appreciate Just Ibe. Our time is fast running, but before we take probably the last question, which I will allow someone from the physical audience to take. If you want to take that question, just raise up your hand where you are. Somebody is going to pass the microphone across to you, and we'll take that question, then we'll close tonight. But I want to say to most of us who are on this platform tonight that we need to build a network. And that network is growing. We've started it some 4 or 5 years ago, and it's growing. And on that network, you have access. You have access to information. You have access to empowering resources. We want to make resources available to business owners. We have structure where we deliberately and strategically build business owners who will in turn build their businesses. Before you leave, make inquiries at our information center about our Enterprise Next. Enterprise Next is a business school for this church where we do specified and specific trainings for business owners. Aside from that, we have what we call Skills Incubator for young school leavers, where we impart vocational skills. we have moved a bit ahead those vocational trainings. We've gone a bit digital. You know, we are in a digital decade. So we've gone ahead and we are now training people on technological driven skills. I'm talking about skills like digital marketing, coding, solar energy installation, ATM servicing. those are the things we give, and we do all these things free of charge. So our skills incubator is coming up September, and you want to learn more about digital marketing. This is not the type you get outside there where they teach you how to post on Facebook. This is a detailed masterclass. I can't just go through the modules. It's a 3-day masterclass. So I want you to register or register someone, and it's coming free of charge, just the same way this platform is free. So please help us to bring in the young people. We have hope in them, and we trust God that in this decade we are in, things will happen for our young people. I thought we've agreed that it's either you say amen or so shall it be. So I'm asking that you partner with us at Unscripted to get all these things done. And how can you partner? Apart from your financial support, you can help us to invite young people to these trainings, to this platform. It's not going to cost you anything than to get across to them. So please, we will appreciate it if you do that. So let's take that live question from this audience. We're going to take just one, and somebody is raising his hand at the back. So if you take that, it means we are taking two. So let's take hers, then we'll take the other one.
Praise God. My name is Comfort. I'm a makeup artist, and I find it very difficult to keep to be accountable when it comes to the money. So people just give me cash, some just do transfer, and I'll move, I'll buy blade, buy things, and at the end of it, I'm not being able to account for how much I've made and the profit and all. So I would like to be helped on that aspect. Thank you.
Okay, let's take the next question so that we can address that.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Just Ibe. I'm really enjoying myself here. Though I'm in the medical field, but I'm beginning to get cutting-edge solutions to some prevailing business challenges that is, barraging startups. I would like to ask that as your priorities, why starting out? You said you started while you were 18 years old. Has your priorities changed, or have they been modified? And what helps you to generate your ideals that you mentioned? What helps you to generate as a startup, what helps you to generate your business ideas? We are in a world where, for example, in Nigeria, you have people, once they see a trend in business, they feel, the whole idea is I'm in business to make money. I'm in business to provide seamless solution into this particular area. So I really want to know, as a startup, what helps you to generate your ideas so that it will be different from the next person walking on the streets? I need you to shed more light on that, sir. Ma'am, thank you.
All right.
I feel like that's the reason we were here, his question. And I feel it so strongly. But I'll start with the makeup artist's question. If you want to make a change, you will start to make a change. But the good thing is you have said that you need help, and that's the first stage. And so starting from today, you're going to start by getting a notebook, as basic as a notebook. Because for someone like you who actually finds it hard to do it, you need to have a physical thing that you're looking at. Because if I say start with your phone, you will not do it. So get a notebook and write notebook, expenditure, income, invoice. Write it as the title of that notebook. Make it a hardcover notebook. Put it on your table. Every morning you wake up, you're looking at it. I'm telling you what you should do right now. And as you're going out for a makeup job, before you leave your house, you write the person's name, how much the person is going to pay you in advance. So that when you come, you will tick it and say, money collected. It sounds archaic, but because of where you are at, you need that level of challenge to push you into doing it. That's number one. Number two is to get an accountability system. Get somebody who will hold you accountable. Preferably hire a coach, somebody who is a financial coach that will ask you every month, can I see your finances? And every time you don't turn it up, they say, fine. You have to be radical because now you know you need it. And the growth of your business is dependent on how much you apply this. I don't want you to look at makeup artists as a business that, well, it's just makeup artists. I have makeup artists who have grown their businesses tremendously. In fact, my own makeup artist, she started as a makeup artist. Now you need to go see her store. She has diversified. She has pivoted. She has added different products, like all those things they call microblading, artificial lashes, and plenty. And she did all of that from that business. She even added skincare routines that will help people prevent acne after makeup, to wash their face. Do you see what I'm saying? Because she was thinking, she didn't look at her makeup business as just makeup. It helped her grow tremendously. And the way I'm looking at that girl, she's not going to stop anytime soon. And she's a makeup artist like you. So priorities and radical actions to make sure it starts. So my dear, start with these two things right now. And in the next 1 month, measure yourself, you'll see a difference. And then to answer, do you want to say something? Okay. To answer Dr. Alaba's question, I feel like that was the reason we're here. Like he said, when I started 18 years ago, and now my priorities has changed tremendously. I started by looking for money. Everyone who knew me before I became the visionary entrepreneur I am now. There's a different, by the way, I recently authored a book called The Visionary Entrepreneur. Unfortunately, I didn't bring it here, but you can get it anywhere
and
online.
You didn't bring your first book. If that first book, I read that book, and that would have answered this part of it.
Exactly.
So I would suggest that we find time to connect with her and get those books from her.
Yes. That first book was a biography of how I started, what I wanted to get, money and all of that. But as I started to grow, I got to a stage in my life where God in his mercy looked at me and said, if I don't stop this girl, she will hurt herself. And that's the pedestal a lot of us as entrepreneurs are going. We're following the trends, we're following our needs and responding to our needs, and the world is dictating how our lives should run. And that's why people go around and stab themselves with many pains in the guise of frustration, high blood pressure, losing money left, right, and center, and the list is endless. Like I said, in God's mercies, he stopped me in my track and said, come, my daughter, let me show you the way to do things. And so to answer his question, why do I get my ideals from? I don't follow trends. I sit in the presence of God and he distills pure wisdom, uncommon strategies. And at every point in time, I'm deploying based on my specific DNA. God sent all of us here to planet Earth as a solution to a specific problem. And in sending you as that solution, he created the exact strategies that you will use per time. Your job as an entrepreneur, especially in this season, is to sit in God, with God, in partnership with him, to be able to deploy your God-given mandate in that business. There may be 1 million makeup artists, but how you will do your own business will be different from the other person's business. The only way to find that is in the presence of God. So as an entrepreneur, I spend more time in God than more time chasing after things. Because when I come out of there, I come out wiser. I come out with more strategies. I come out looking like I have been doing this 100 years. Meanwhile, it's God giving you that advantage, that leverage. And so I just want to say for every single one of us here, if you don't want to be pulled aside in many directions by trends, by everything happening in the world, spend time in God. And of course, in spending time in God, he begins to point you to specific things, resources, that you can pay attention to help you think differently. So yeah, Dr. Alaba, that's my biggest secret. I spend more time in God than anything else.
Wow, I would have loved that we close on that note, spending time in God's presence. But that's very wonderful. That's beautiful. I'll take this last question from the audience, then we'll close powerfully on that note. Okay? Initially, the expected projected revenue. Hence, as a going concern, adequate provisions must be made to mitigate this. I don't know, maybe it's a question or maybe it's a comment.
The person is government policies play in affecting the growth of businesses. But I would like to answer the person just very briefly. Government policies will exist and will continue to exist. A lot of times I like to say to people, I was saying to my husband yesterday when we were talking about the PIB bill that was recently passed. and how fuel is going to increase and all of that. And I said to him, I said, can we separate ourselves and begin to look at the government as an arm of society that also wants to be profitable? And as Nigerians and Africans, we don't do that. If it was you who is in a place of power and authority, you want to run a profitable organization, case in point. A government, a state is a business. If we look at it as that way, you start to look at their decisions and say, is it because they're trying to grow this and trying to grow that? And I'm not excusing the laxity or the, excesses of leadership. I'm not excusing that. But I'm trying to bring business into it. So if they pass bills on the basis of the fact that we want to make this work, we want to increase revenue, we want to increase life GDP, we want to make the gross national happiness index of the people increase. If they are doing that, can you now go as a business owner to say, the fact that they are changing things in that sector of society, how can I adjust? We're not in competition with the government. We are in partnership. Private, public, partnering together. Once you have that mentality, it will help you step into places to say, how can we make that policy work? As opposed to standing on one side of the divide and saying, they are the ones killing us. There's no such thing. The more quiet we are, the more they have the opportunity to kill us. And a lot of times, they don't even think they're killing us. They think they're doing what is right. That's the truth. So if you keep quiet, it enables the government to erstwhile kill you, and they may not know. And I'll give you a typical example to buttress this point. A few years ago, Madam Ibuku said that there was a bill that was passed about upholstery importation. She's in the upholstery business. And she said the then Minister of Finance, Nenade Usman, she said she looked at what they passed, and she knew it was going to crumble her business. So she hired a team of forensic, accountants or policy people who would look into the bill very properly and excavate the things that were wrong and how it will affect Nigerian businesses and how it will affect the government. She said she spent 9 months doing this research. And when she was done, she came up with almost 100 pages of research work and went to the then Minister of Finance to say, this is what we have found. If you pass this bill, this is what will happen. And the then Minister of Finance looked at it and they reversed that policy. One Nigerian decided she was going to fight to make things better. There's so many of us who have the wherewithal to dig into these policies. Majority of us don't even know the policies. But we are the first to shout, it's affecting us, it's killing us. What do you know about it? How can you make it better? And that's why I was saying earlier, we are in business not for subsistence reason. We're in business because we have to be a part of the things that will change this country. It starts from how you treat it today. So to the person who made that comment, as much as we're saying policies matter, let's get involved. Get involved. Look at the policies in your sector now. Identify the things that are wrong and figure out a way to start conversations around them. Even if it's a round table conversation with stakeholders, guess what? They are open to look for ways how to make things better. That's the truth. A lot of these people in government are clueless. They need help. If you have the answer, step out in boldness with God backing you up and go and help them. All of us will be better for it.
Wow. With God backing us up, everything will go well for us. Let's put our hands together for Just tonight. She has said so much. Like I used to say at Unscripted, it doesn't matter how long you've been coming here. What's important to me is what are you hearing from here and what are you doing or what will you do with what you've heard. Thank you so much for coming tonight. I would have loved that we stay here, keep on dealing with this thing. But one thing I can assure you is that your business will grow. It's even too late for that business not to grow because you are taking away from here that seed from God that will impart in you what it takes to grow that business. After tonight, God will speak to your heart. While you are going home, you will receive a revelation. While you are at work tomorrow, something will drop in your spirit. Just make sure that you are doing what you are doing. And step by step, you see things changing for you. I prophesy that things will change for you. Whatever is mitigating against your business, against the purpose of God for your life, will disappear tonight. In the name of the Lord Jesus. staying in God's presence will always make the difference in the lives of believers. We're supposed to be the example that they will see in the society. I pray for someone that your light will shine. I said your light will shine. The works of your hand will speak. Your vision will speak in the name of the Lord Jesus.
THC, making you a person of influence.